Hi, I'm Dan Schmitt. I do a weekly television show called Team Chicago Challenge. My website is teamchicago.tv. My email, and I like hearing from people, teamdan45@gmail.com. As I continue celebrating 1,500 public access Team Chicago Challenge, the public access show, I did my first shows back in 1986. They were political shows, The Other Side. Then in 1988, I started doing all motorcycle racing. Still did a couple political shows, but then I got into the road racing thing, then running the Weir National Endurance thing, and I've been very fortunate to be able to do a TV show, cover all my racing, and winning 2 championships. I'm joined with my granddaughter, Taylor, again. Now, Taylor and I, hundreds of miles, thousands of miles, we traveled the country when I was running the Weir National Endurance Series, and she was with me many races, scored for Team Chicago, been around racing, and so we're going to go through my history. We're starting again at 1974, and I'm going to try to tell the story the best I can about what took place racing motorcycles. And so Taylor, that picture there from Santa Fe Speedway. The reason that picture, I wanted to spot that, if you look at the pipe on the side of the bike and it says Scott, can you read that? Yep. Scott? Okay. That's when I got involved with Scott Bagnog. I can't remember the kid that lived in Niles, he was a young guy, but and Paul Rembus. All 3 of them were working together with me, developing that 360 Yamaha to make more horsepower. It generally blew up almost all the time. One time at Santa Fe Speedway, and I think it's here in the list, I did win a heat race, a B heat race. Now, like I was talking about Santa Fe Speedway. There was the A program and the B program. I mean, the A program were everybody, all right, novice, juniors, and experts all raced together at Santa Fe Speedway. That's why it was sort of considered Class A racing. I never made the A program. I was never a great short tracker. So I'm a better short tracker sitting here today than I was back then. But as you can see, in 1974, now that I made junior, to go from junior, where I could ride a big bike, but still at Santa Fe, you still rode a 360. That's why you had 360 Yamaha. But I could ride the 750 Triumph at the half miles and the TTs. So, as you can see on how many races I made that year, I mean, it was an enormous amount of races, and to try to get enough points to move up to expert. At the same time, as I write my little notes there, Jay Springsteen and Ken Springsteen came on the scene as junior riders. And they had the Vista Sheen Harley Davidsons, which were great handling, very powerful. Every race you went to, half mile, if they were there, they had first and second place, and the points for first and second place. So everybody else was fighting for third or fourth. Now, the only race I did well on the big bike that year, they had a regional championship in Champaign on this real rough track. Dick Mann made a speech and said, if you guys think this is too bad of a track, don't race. I mean, no one's going to think any different of you.
All right.
Well, I took advantage of that and I did race, and I did make the final. I did run 4th place in the final, and I think I won 2nd in the heat race. So for me, I picked up points. It was a great day.
Right.
I came home, I had welts on my chest because the rocks were this big. Now you're going down the track, down the straightaway at 90 miles an hour. The rock is coming off the back tire of the bike in front of you and being spit at you at 90 miles an hour. So when that rock hits your chest, that's a rock hit you at 180 miles an hour.
Oh, wow.
And I remember getting hit in the knee one time by a rock, and I thought it was going to knock me off the motorcycle. I mean, but you race you know, you race where you want to race. I mean, and like I said, Dick Mann made the statement. And as long as we're talking, let me bring up another statement. I was asked, what is motorcycle racing? What is the appeal? And I have made the statement, anybody can quote me on this, motorcycle racing it takes physical fitness, mental toughness, and mechanical knowledge. Now, if you can put all three of them things together, and you can't be afraid of being hurt. You can't be afraid of pain. I mean, you're always going to get a little bit of hurt somewhere. If you're going to let pain bother you, you can't be a motorcyclist. I mean, that's just the way it is. There's a picture at the bottom here. It's Jerry Westhouse, number 44, at Peoria, on his Harley. Jerry Westhouse, good friend of mine. I probably never beat him. I mean, and I'm sure he took great pride in beating me as often as he could. So, but at Peoria, I usually did pretty good. I mean, one guy one time made a remark. I'm out on when ice race practicing on the Mississippi River, and a guy over from Iowa said, Dan Schmitt, the scourge of Peoria. So I used to do pretty good at Peoria. That was a compliment, right? So as a junior, there's a picture of TT at Santa Fe. So now we're going to take a break. I got another piece of film, and because of my good friend Jesse Hernandez. Jesse Hernandez, when I had the coffee truck, he was a good friend of mine, and he worked at Payless Photo. He was a professional photographer. He knew a lot of stuff. And he found some film that would work my 8mm camera that would be able to shoot at nighttime. Because Santa Fe Speedway had lights, but they weren't the greatest light system in the world. But pretty good. I mean, for that era. I mean, you got to remember back then, Cubs Park didn't even have lights. Cubs were only running day games back then. So Jesse found this film. And they didn't want anybody filming at Santa Fe Speedway. I mean, I do have another film from WGN or something. I'll even show you a little clip of that when we ran the long track. Because once a month at Santa Fe, they would also run the long track. So they run the short track and the long track. So I'm going to show you now footage from Santa Fe. First the short track, oval short track. Then I'm going to show you some footage of the TT with me riding that goes along with that picture right there. And then another clip of running the long track at Santa Fe Speedway. So that's to give you an idea how important. It was all professional racing at Santa Fe Speedway. So right here, 91st and Wolf Road. It was Santa Fe was the center of racing in this country. There was two tracks. Santa Fe ran a weekly program. Ascot Park in California ran a weekly program. So those were very important to the whole dirt track scene. We're going to start with a diagram created by Bill Wilf of Motorsports Unlimited, first showing the short track at Santa Fe Speedway. Second, we're going to show the TT track, a kidney-shaped track. You turn off at turn 2 into the infield, over the jump, and back onto turn 3 and 4 on the big track. And then once a month, they ran a classic, which was running on the big track, but still running with 360 two-stroke motorcycles. This is the short track. I am starting on the outside. This is one of the films shot by Jesse Hernandez. I'm riding my 360 Yamaha. This was probably a B program. As you can see, someone's trying to move up on the inside to pass me. But he gets a little squirrely there. And I take advantage. I get by. And now I'm trying to run down the leader. There were a few nights that I had moments of brilliance on the short track, but generally I struggled quite a bit. And now we're looking at the TT track. I got a good start on my Triumph into the first corner. I went wide, someone snuck underneath me. Now we come into the infield. Someone's coming on the outside. Make a right and then a left back onto the track. And this was the era when they started running 500cc singles. They were making as much horsepower as my 750 twin. And these bikes weighed approximately 100 pounds less than my Triumph. So even though I said I did pretty good at Peoria, and I did okay at Santa Fe, I was a better TT rider than I was a short tracker at that time. And I'm happy to say I still own that Triumph that I am racing at Santa Fe Speedway. Thanks to my good friend Jesse Hernandez that shot both of these films from Santa Fe Speedway. And now we're looking at a film that was shot by either WGN or WBBM, the CBS affiliate in Chicago. They probably came out a week before the National. They put some coverage on because, like I said, Santa Fe ran a national short track and a national TT, but the national short track was on the small track. In this film, the rider in fourth place with the white leathers, that is Bill Wilt from Motorsports Unlimited. Bill Wilt was a much better short tracker than I was. In fact, a couple times Bill Wilt did win the B program final. And this would have been 1971, a year before I got my professional license. Now let's go back to my conversation with Taylor. Okay, flip the page. Now here's some more pictures. These are just from, oh, I got my new leathers. That's when I got my Dan's Coffee Cup leathers, and that's at Sycamore Speedway running a professional race. So those are my new leathers. So that's mainly with that picture.
Now you still have those?
That's a long story. I have the sleeves got ruined. I still have the patch. If I ever get a couple $1 million, I'll have that set of leathers remade and put the Dan's Coffee Cup patch on the front.
That'd be awesome.
All right. Then we get into 1977. 1977 is when Team Chicago was created. So my concept, you're going to see these different covers and artwork. This is stuff that Jesse Hernandez did for me. My concept was, I raced at Norville Downs in 1976, maybe 75 too. Staten Lorenz was the promoter up there, ran a team race. What he did, he took the fastest 5 riders from Michigan and the fastest 5 riders from the rest of the country. He put up another purse, and he had a 10-lap race at Norville Downs. The spectators loved it. They were cheering on, that Jay Springsteen was only a junior maybe then, but he's running with the experts, Corky Keener, Jay Springsteen, Rex Beauchamp, whoever from Michigan, they won. And people were thrilled. Well, at this time I was getting to be friends with Howard Teat, who ran Santa Fe Speedway. And I suggested to him the concept of a team race every week. And the idea was I would put Team Chicago together, and the fastest 5 of us would take on the fastest 5 from Michigan one week, the fastest 5 from Wisconsin one week, the fastest 5 from Illinois, the rest of Illinois, Indiana, and then when the National came to town, would take on Team USA. And that'd be the fastest 5 from anywhere. So keep going on. So these are more artwork. This is all Jesse Hernandez putting his artwork together. So this, I mean, thank him for doing this kind of artwork. I mean, this is before computers. At least nobody had computers. I mean, this is, all right, so keep going. And then I put this program together, and here's all the guys on Team Chicago in 1977. Now, that one picture is from Santa Fe Speedway. We got everybody together, and Jesse took the picture. And then the other picture is from my backyard on Kilpatrick. So I did a regular program that we handed out back then. So you can flip the page, and there's some pictures from '77. So there's Jimmy Collins and me. And the one thing I did is I had T-shirts done. So Team Chicago wore white T-shirts over the leathers. They had red ones for Michigan, black ones for Illinois, blue for Wisconsin, and so they would, and we would have a separate race. The 10-lap race. We would stagger start. The slowest guy starting in front, the fastest guys in back, and it'd be 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and run a 10-lap race. I think Howard came up with $300 or maybe $200, whatever. I think the winning team got $25 a man, and the losing team got $15 a man. So it was worthwhile to participate. And now you can see different, the Tribune came out, did a story that's behind my coffee truck. See the changer? I got my changer. So I did all the promotion too. So I was more than just, I mean, I was the guy at the track organizing who was going to run the race. At the end of the night, I would make sure the results got into the Tribune and the Sun-Times, so it would be in the newspaper the next day. And then the Tribune there's my article in the Tribune, a couple articles in the Sun-Times. So my whole concept was to get more publicity for the motorcycle racing. Right. And that's how we would build a greater fan base. And that became a big part. And then Debbie Rizzo was one of my customers on the coffee truck, and she wanted to be a model. She was working downtown, I think. So because Jesse was working at Palace and was in with professional photographers and all that, the deal we made with Debbie was he would do a portfolio, do an extra 50 shots, and she also did posing with the motorcycle. So then I had a promotional picture for Team Chicago. So that's how that all worked out. Then, in 1977, I approached Emma Jackus at Mineola Bay Hotel. So the Mineola was just a bar, the hotel wasn't open, and her son had the marina, the Mineola Bay Marina, Mineola Marina. And guys would go out on Sundays and just race around in front. Her son would bring the Jeep out and clean the snow on the ice. So I approached her about doing a weekly series. So this is also 1977, and now I'm promoting a 10-race series at the Mineola Hotel. And I'm also getting pictures. I mean, I had many articles in many newspapers. So you can see, besides doing Team Chicago at Santa Fe Speedway, I was also getting into promoting. I mean, I felt that motorcycle racing for Alex, I mean, the other thing, here's the reality. People can check me, what I'm saying here, and it's absolute, God strike me dead today, truth. Back then, you could go to a Cubs game. Wrigley Field, 1977. And there were many, many games that could barely get 300 to 400 spectators. That's God's truth. White Sox night games be 90% empty. They could barely get 500 to 600 or 800 people. This is God's truth, 1977. You can go check the records. Strike me dead if I'm lying. Santa Fe Speedway would easily have 1,000 spectators on a Wednesday night at 91st and Wolf Road for motorcycle racing. When the National came, the Short Track National or the TT National, they would sell out both sides and they would have 6,000 to 7,000 people. And yet, the Tribune, the Sun-Times, the 3 TV stations or 4 with WGN, nobody ever covered motorcycle racing. So my idea with the team racing was how can we get more people exposed? Right. So this is really the beginning of my promotion. Right, so that's Mineola Ice Racing. There's my friend Al Bloom. There's Team Chicago. We also did team races at Mineola. In 1977 it became, and we would get the cars at the Mineola Hotel. You got to go up the hill at Fox Lake, then you drive down the hill to get to the hotel. And they had the parking lot in back. There would be cars parked all the way to downtown Fox Lake along the road. Oh, wow. We would literally get 400 to 500 to 600 people at the Mineola for a Sunday ice race in the wintertime. Yeah, it was a big deal. I mean, my promotions, not that I made any, it was all free. Santa Fe made money on, but my promotion at least got people interested. All right, so that's ice racing. There's one article. And then I also had, when Debbie was there, I got some snowmobile suits that she could, and helmets, so we did a whole array of pictures for her with the bike. And I have the bike for dirt track, and I also changed the tires and have ice tires on it too. So you keep going. You see it got ice tires on that one in the front?
Yeah.
Okay. So these were promotional pictures that we did. The studio was over there on LaSalle Street. Like I said, Jesse Hernandez, he had a lot of connections, was a huge help. And here, you got some ice race results showing how many riders showed up, how my income was. Back then you're only charging, entry fee was $2 or $3. Eventually I would, and we're handing out cash purse, and we're giving everybody's trophies. But I was buying trophies for only $5 back then. It was, and then here's Team Chicago for 1978, and you can see George Mack has been added, Mike Eskew, Jerry Westhouse, Bill Wilt again, Gus DiVittorio, Jimmy Collins, Mike Gilkey. Yeah, I had some real, and there's the schedule that we were planning that year. So it was really the team thing. We only did it 2 years. I think one of my problems was, my confession here, I may have overstepped. Because then I went to Raceway Park, which was another racetrack, and we did some team racing there. And I think that Howard Teat got a little perturbed about that. So team racing at Santa Fe only lasted 2 years. As far as Team Chicago, this is before TV. There was no public access TV back then. This is, So there's a picture of Dave Bogus. That's right, Dave Bogus. That's a good picture I found of him at Santa Fe Speedway. So, and I found more pictures, and I haven't been able to get them off my computer. So.
Yeah. So I see here we got a 1978 season Team Chicago racing dates, and that was also for Santa Fe.
Right. And I do have the results from that year. So, different. And a lot of them got rain. For some reason, that year, we had a lot of rainouts on Wednesday night. But as you can see, I got PJ Pub, which was the hot bar on the northwest side. I got him to give me some money to sponsor. There's a ad for Mineola Hotel, and that year I put together like a 16-page book, and I had sold a lot of advertising. So if you look at I even did my accounting for that year, I did come out in the plus between mainly doing the book. I had income from the book. But I think I think we're running out of time today. Thanks a lot for joining me.
Absolutely.
I mean, have you learned something?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, I'm having such a good time, with you and Heather, and beautiful day.
Absolutely.
And so tune in next week. We're gonna have more stuff. I have now done 3 clips up here on YouTube, and I forgot to mention Jim Rashid and Mike Calvert. So besides my 2 kids, Bridget and Danny, Jim Rashid and Mike Calvert went to nearly all the races starting in 1971 and gave me a hand. And it was Mike Calvert who shot this film clip on 8mm film at a half mile. Now to contact me, it's teamdan45@gmail.com. Let me know what you think of this clip. Remember, you can always search on YouTube with Dan Schmitt Motorcycle Racing for more motorcycle racing action.